Welcome to the final week of Confidence Picks, unless we decide to do this for Big Ten Bowl games, which we might. I am Steve Dace. He is Aaron McIntyre. And Aaron, I did not do what I threatened to do a week ago. I threatened to just go ahead and just do the opposite of everything you took. But that would probably give me a better chance to pull this out. But would also be dishonorable. It would be a violation of the Dude Code and the spirit and integrity of this esteemed competition. So I turned in my picks without knowing yours. Who knows? I might not have given myself any chance to make up any ground at all whatsoever. But I just wanted to state from the top, I stared into the mouth of madness. I looked at the abyss. I walked up to the line, and then I came back into the light and did not violate the Dude Code. So I just want that stipulated here before we get started.
Excellent. That's good. You have a fairly healthy chance this week. I will say that. But before we get to our picks for this week, we look back at last week. I somehow managed to add to my lead over you. You got Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, Purdue, and Wisconsin right. In the 5 slot, though.
Another reason for me to test Sparty. There we go.
Michigan State, you missed that over Indiana. And then the 1 spot, Minnesota over Iowa. Difference with me is I had Michigan State at my 2 slot instead of the 5 slot. And I also had Minnesota over Iowa at the 1 slot, which means I added, 3 points to my lead. You are now at 388. I am at 402 for a 14-point lead going into the final weekend of the Big Ten football season. Steve, your picks.
Let's get it started. I'm going to put 7 points on Iowa, Nebraska.
That's crazy.
Now, in fact, I could make a case for every underdog this week, actually. All right? I mean, Iowa without Sam Laporta, this thing's going to be fugly. All right? I mean, he's Iowa's downfield passing game, if we're being honest.
Yep.
Okay? So, I mean, this thing might be 6-3. I don't know how many points Iowa can score without Sam Laporta. I do know that Nebraska can't score a lot of points no matter who plays against that Iowa defense, right? So Iowa finds a way. It sure ain't a pretty mouth, but they get it done. 7 points on the Hawkeyes, and they repeat as West champions. I'm going to go with Maryland over Rutgers. This would be the first time Maryland has won 7 games in the regular season since its first year in our league, or since 2014. So it doesn't do that very often. It has a lot to play for here. Rutgers does not. So I'll take the Terps. My 5-point game, Penn State over Michigan State. By rights, this should have been my 7-point game, but I'm just a little skittish after the way Michigan State responded after the tunnel incident was to go on the road and beat Illinois, right? Now you get those 7 of those guys get criminal charges. You lose last week to Indiana. I don't want to get burned again by Michigan State doing what it did before. So this is a bit of a hedge. I'm still very confident Penn State wins and gets at least a New Year's Six bowl, maybe a Rose Bowl berth. But I'm going to hedge a little bit just in case Michigan State does again what they did against Illinois, because they're playing for a bowl game too.
Yep.
My 4-point game this week is Wisconsin gets revenge and kind of gets to carry Jim Leonhard off the field as the newly anointed coach. I think Minnesota got nut punched last week. You did everything right. You've got a back running for 260 against Iowa and lose.
You lose, yeah.
I mean, you can't lose with a running back getting 260 against anybody, let alone against that Iowa defense, man. I know it's a huge rivalry game, but so was last week, picking yourself up off the mat when you had the West and everything right there in your hands. And to collapse the way that they did, just handed that game away. And I think Wisconsin will have the revenge factor and the Jim Leonhard factor here. My 3-point game, I'm going to go with Illinois over Northwestern. Illinois is a lot better team this year, but man, I wonder where Illinois is at.
Yeah. I mean, they went from just win one of these games, Michigan State versus Purdue, to now you need multiple teams to lose, and you've got to go beat your in-state rival.
It was a nasty physical game last week against Michigan. Both teams are 2 of the most physical teams in our league. And if they sit there and watch Iowa win the day before, which I may hint at a little bit in a second here, what is their motivation in that game? And here's the thing. Northwestern's not good, but similar to Nebraska. Conceivably, 14, 17 points could win that game.
Yep.
So I'm hedging here and only putting 3 on the Illini. My 2-point game is the game. I will take Ohio State over Michigan. The reason it's not higher, all my numbers, my analysis shows that Ohio State should probably win given Michigan's injury situation and revenge in the home field by about 10 points. And in fact, my official prediction is 31-21. But it's lower for this reason. I've never seen Jim Harbaugh do a press conference like what he did this week, ever. I mean, my goodness. He was on Ohio State fluffer duty. Called them superheroes. Everybody's great. They're impossible. I mean, it was last year we went, Ryan Day was born on third and credited with a triple. To this year, they're the greatest team in the history of intercollegiate football. Okay. I know he doesn't think that. And so
what has he got up his sleeve?
Yes. And does he know something about their injury situation that we don't know? Were they really resting a bunch of guys against Illinois? They're not really that beat up. And they thought that Illinois, they actually underestimated Illinois and they weren't the pushover that they had thought. I don't know. And so that's why I'm going to hedge a little bit and only make this my 2-point game. My 1-point game this week, I'm going to take Indiana outright over Purdue for the Oak and Bucket. Indiana comes home after a huge win against Michigan State. Maybe saves Tom Allen's job here. I wonder where Purdue's motivation is after it watches Iowa win the West the day before. So you can see that's a big factor in a couple of games in my analysis this week is the result of that Iowa-Nebraska game.
Smart. That's smart. My 7-point game. Got Michigan over Ohio State.
Whoa.
We got to give the audience some drama. Also, I think that Michigan is going to beat Ohio State in Columbus.
You have my permission officially to kick my ass in this competition now. All right?
No, I think it's going to happen. As I said yesterday on Bigger 10, man, I'm going to take the more proven defense. I'm going to take the more proven defense and the more proven running game. Now, I know that there are injury issues. But, dude, this is the bleeping game. I know Corum hyperextended his knee or something like that. I don't know what exactly it was. Do you know?
It's a knee bruise is what they're saying.
A knee bruise.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing structurally wrong.
Go out there and be a freaking legend. You're playing for Heisman. I don't think the injury issues on either side are maybe as big of a deal as what it's being made right now. So again, those two factors, I just like Michigan in the style of play in November. If this game was in September or even October, I don't like the chances too much. But again, my gut says they're going to make it 2 in a row over Ohio State. Number 6, I've got Penn State over Michigan State. This is maybe a play-in game for the Rose Bowl for Penn State. They're going to be motivated. I'm not sure. Again, yeah, Michigan State's playing for a bowl game, but goodness gracious, just choking against Indiana of all teams. Then you get the news this week that one of your teammates may be a felon for swinging his helmet in the tunnel of your in-state. I just don't know where they are at headspace wise. As you said, they responded earlier this year, but I'm going to go with Penn State over Michigan State. I've got Illinois over Northwestern. This is one of those don't overthink it type of things. Now, Indiana over Purdue, different, but I think Northwestern has been so unbelievably terrible this year, and Illinois has been much improved. I think that Bielema is going to be able to get the guys up for this one, and Illinois should be able to take care of business against Northwestern. That's why they're at the 5 spot. Number 4, I have Minnesota over Wisconsin. So last year, the motivational edge, now this game was in Minneapolis, now it's in Madison this year. The motivational edge was, hey, we could keep Wisconsin out of the Big Ten championship game. Not sure what the motivational edge is for Minnesota, but I don't know what it is for Wisconsin other than this is your rival. Wisconsin, I don't know if you watched that game against Nebraska. That was also FUGLY. That was terrible. I kept that game on while I was watching Michigan versus Illinois. I'm not sure where Wisconsin goes to get offense in this game. Minnesota's defense is very, very good. So I'm going to go Minnesota over Wisconsin. I believe at the end of the game they're going to be able to exercise a few demons that were created at the end of that Iowa game. Then the number 3 spot, I still think Iowa's going to win, but man, this is it's going to look, I think, a lot like last year. I think Nebraska may actually get up early, may get up by a couple of possessions early. And when they do that, Iowa money line like I did last year. Because Nebraska still does not know, other than Rutgers on the road, they still don't know how to close out games. So I'm going Iowa over Nebraska at the 3 spot. Number 2, I'm going to go with I keep plugging Rutgers in for an upset every now and then. Maryland, how many games in a row have they lost now? Now that you played
4, they started 6-2, or 3. They started 6-2. They're 6-5 now.
If you're Greg Schiano and Rutgers, you really want to go into the offseason with a good taste in your mouth, so you can kind of keep things rolling a little bit. I've got Rutgers with the upset over Maryland, and then in my 1 spot, I've got Purdue over Indiana. I think the angle that you laid out there is prescient. This requires a little bit more thinking than I think Illinois over Northwestern. But I still have Purdue beating their in-state rivals for the Oaken Bucket, and I don't know what kind of a game that will be, but I think they should be able to take care of business against Indiana.
Well, good stuff. Should we do the bowl games or not? Or do we end it?
We're going to have like 7 bowl games, aren't we?
Yeah.
6 or 7?
Yeah, there's going to be at least 7. Yeah, maybe 8 or 9. So,
yeah, let's do that, because I have a feeling after this week I may need the bowl games.
It's funny that we both put each other's favorite teams their 7-point game. Yeah. All right, good stuff. I hope you're right. I hope you're so far ahead that I'm like, you can have it, because you nailed that Michigan-Ohio State game. I'd love nothing more. And I'd love nothing more than for all of you to enjoy your long holiday weekend. Have a great Thanksgiving. We'll see you next time right here on the channel.